of each presentation. Altogether, as I said, we have 1.5 hours, and after each presentations, you will also be able to ask questions from the participants. However, we do strongly suggest that you would write your questions to the chat. As you see in the middle of the bottom, you have the chat box. And that would be the easiest way to manage the questions if you write them during the presentation or at the end of the presentation. There is a possibility to also ask the questions using your microphone. So in that case, you have to raise your hand and indicate your interest, but it would be more practical if you use the chat channel for putting the questions forward. We will have this seminar recorded, so there is always a possibility to come back to it and see it again. And we will, of course, be sharing the presentations after the webinar is over. Having said that, I think we can now move to our main program. And I would like then to invite our first speaker, Sean Reagain from European Commission, to make the opening presentation on Industry 5.0. And Sean, if that's fine with you, perhaps before starting your presentation, you can also shortly introduce yourself and your background and previous activities, so people would also have your personal background a bit more clear. Sean, it's all yours. Go ahead, and you have 25 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you, René. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my slides clearly?
Yes, we can.
Very good. I'm very pleased to be with you this afternoon for this very interesting webinar. So I am the Deputy Head of Unit in DG Research and Innovation in the European Commission, responsible for Industry 5.0, and I have a long experience working with industry at European level, having previously worked in the Director General for Small and Medium-Sized Industry, and then in the Director General for right now DG Grow. And so a couple of years ago, I joined the team as we began to develop the concept of Industry 5.0. So I'm very pleased to be with you today to say a little bit about the concept and where we are now with its implementation. So when we talk about Industry 5.0, we're very much in the area of digitalization of industry. Digitalization is transforming European industry very rapidly indeed, accelerating production processes and also changing the role of workers. In the early stages of digitalization of industry, the focus was very much on the factory floor and how to increase efficiency and productivity within manufacturing companies. And this transformation broadly has been termed Industry 4.0. And Industry 5.0, let's be clear, it's not a revolution compared to what's gone before. It's much more about seeing the role of digitalization in industry in a broader way that will allow industry to play the role it traditionally has more widely in the economy and society. So essentially Industry 5.0 has three pillars. The first pillar is human-centricity. It's about capitalizing on the talents and the diversity of workers in the workplace by empowering them and to make them part of the digitalization journey rather than simply accepting the process. In this way, we see that Industry 5.0 can make manufacturing companies more resilient by applying digital technologies in a way which is flexible and which allows them to adapt to changing circumstances, so making companies more agile, and in this way being more resilient. And resilience clearly is very topical at the moment, following the COVID crisis, and given the impact of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And then the third pillar of Industry 5.0 is very much focusing on industry's role in supporting and taking forward sustainability by using digital technologies in a way that allows companies to operate in a more sustainable way, and in a way particularly that respects planetary boundaries. So in a nutshell, Industry 5.0 is about recognizing the power that industry has to achieve wider economic and societal goals that go beyond growth and jobs, and so that they can become a resilient provider of prosperity for European society, by ensuring that the production respects the boundaries of our planet and also puts the well-being of the industrial worker at the center of the production process. So why have we developed the concept of Industry 5.0, and where do we see it as being valuable and critical? First of all, we see it as really bringing the worker to the center of the whole process of digitalization, by empowering workers so that they remain at the center of the process in companies, and are not simply put aside and have to accept the technology that is brought in. This in turn, to achieve this, is very important that we have training that is adapted in a way that takes account of the fact that digitalization and the innovation that is driving it means there's a rapid evolution of skills needs, and that therefore workers need to continually to develop and adapt their skills, and that they need to be supported in this. Thirdly, very important aspect from the point of view of human centricity is that by combining human centricity with the application of digital technologies, we can improve safety and well-being of workers in the workplace. Essentially, the machines can do the dirty work, and the workers can then take on the value-added aspects and work with the machines to improve the overall efficiency and competitiveness of the company. Also, we see this as a way of making industry more competitive, because the workers coming into the jobs market now, they have very specific demands. They want to work for companies that respect their values, and so by taking the Industry 5.0 route, it helps industry to attract the best talent that's coming onto the marketplace. Workers with these digital skills are scarce, they're in high demand. We need them in industry, and the way of doing that is to make an attractive work environment for them. Also, very important, of course, for industry is we see this Industry 5.0, the three pillars, as helping to reduce costs, because they will make the use of resources more efficient. And overall, then we see that this will help European companies to have a competitive edge in new markets. So we would see Industry 5.0 as a solution provider, both for people, for citizens, and also for our planet. So let's say a little bit more about the human centricity pillar. What we're talking about here essentially is moving from a technology-driven approach, which puts the machine and the digital technologies in first place and sees workers as just accepting these, to a more human-centric approach, which involves workers in the way in which digital technologies are brought into the company. And this leads to a more efficient outcome for the company and a more rewarding job profile for the workers. Also, it ensures safer and qualitative jobs that take into account the importance of the well-being of the worker. I think at the heart of this, Industry 5.0 therefore sees workers as investments for the company and not mere costs. so that by investing in their training and in their development, the workers can actually add value to companies as they move on their digitalization journey. And we see technologies in this framework as being there to enhance the capacities of workers to contribute in the workplace, and also as a means of fostering the creativity of workers and allowing greater empowerment in this way. This human-centric approach that we see in Industry 5.0 is also very important if we're to attract the best talents to industry. Digital skills are scarce in the digital age, and those who have these skills are very much in demand right across the economy. And there are many surveys that show that young people coming onto the job market now want employers who share their values. And as we've seen with the Great Resignation, as it's called in the United States, these workers will leave companies if they feel they don't share their values. And this is more important in many cases to workers than the salary that they're paid. They want to work for in an environment that fits with their values and the way they want to take their careers. Industry 5.0 helps to address this need of workers coming onto the market now. The second pillar I would like to address is the sustainability aspect. What we're talking about here is enhancing the resource efficiency of companies, of manufacturing companies, so that they can do better with less. What we're talking about is adopting a full life cycle perspective that takes into account the capacity for reuse, for remodeling and recycling of products and processes in one industry that can be used elsewhere. So that overall we improve the environment of the challenges faced by the need for greater sustainability. And in this context, we see this being very much relevant to how we can contribute to the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development. That's very much addressing SDG 9 in relation to industry, innovation and infrastructure, and also SDG 12 in relation to responsible production and consumption. Industry is a significant contributor to EU emissions, despite the fact that there have been significant improvements in the emissions performance. Industry needs to go much further, and we see that by applying digital technologies in a way that supports sustainability in this way, this is the route by which industry in the future can contribute more to achieving European and global sustainability goals. The third aspect, the third pillar of Industry 5.0 is resilience. And this has become highly topical, of course. We have seen that, first of all, the challenges posed by the COVID pandemic, and now with the geopolitical situation rising from the Russian invasion of Ukraine, that resilience has become a huge challenge for industry. And what we're seeing is that those companies that have applied Industry 5.0 approaches by taking a flexible and adaptive approach to adoption of digital technologies are those that seem to be having the best results in the current uncertain business environment, and are demonstrating the strongest level of resilience. Very important in this aspect is having the appropriate skill sets that allow companies to apply the technologies in a way that gives them the necessary flexibility and adaptability. We have gone from a situation where the focus was very much on increasingly globalized supply chains to a situation where there's a need to be very flexible, very adaptable, be able to move quickly, being agile in addressing changes in market conditions or in relation to supply. So having workers who can help with that, and in this way help companies to revisit and, where necessary, to adapt their supply chains to these changed circumstances is very important. And this also plays into the wider societal role envisaged for industry under the Industry 5.0 concept, because by being resilient, industry will maintain its employment, will continue to contribute to the economy and society. This will enhance the role that industry has traditionally played as a driver of prosperity more widely in the economy and society. The concept is very clear, but making it happen is going to be very challenging. It will need concrete and concerted action across a wide range of policy areas. Clearly, one of these is regional. It will be a particular need for policies that support European regions that are facing major transitions, and helping them to have equip their industry with the necessary tools to capitalize on the opportunities of Industry 5.0. And in that regard, one interesting feedback we've been getting in our conversations across the regions of Europe is that, particularly in regions that depend a lot on SMEs, that Industry 5.0 can in fact be a very effective way for SMEs to advance on their digitalization journey, because a lot of those, if they apply digital technologies directly, tend to face barriers due to problems of absorptive capacity and problems with raising the necessary investment. Whereas by taking the broader approach to digitalization that we envisage with Industry 5.0, SMEs seem to find this a way of actually helping them to achieve their digitalization goals. Other policy areas that will be very important include taxation, to ensure that the taxation systems support the move towards a green, human-centric industry. Also, employment and social policy will be very important, taking account of the need that there will be now a dynamic and evolving market for skills needs and employability. We're going to see a rapid change in labour markets driven by digitalisation, and the need for employment policy to be flexible enough to support these changes in the appropriate way. Also, in the area of social policy, aspects like social security and inclusiveness, in ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to engage and in the opportunities for skills development, for working in industry towards the Industry 5.0 goal will be important. Linked to that, of course, is the education system. We will need to see, very importantly, greater opportunities for women to engage and for encouraging entrepreneurial skills, because where you see the empowerment that Industry 5.0 can give rise to, then this gives an opportunity for entrepreneurial development, both inside companies, but also through spin-offs. And at the same time, we need to really ensure that we have the appropriate skills profiles. We will need to develop further STEM skills. In the area of environment also, of course, to achieve the sustainability goals that we see under Industry 5.0, there will be need for policy to ensure prevention of industrial waste and, in a more positive sense, the development of secondary materials markets that can support recycling and reuse. And of course, technology, research and development policy also plays its part, but I mentioned this last because on its own, research and development will not achieve Industry 5.0 fully, but very much our policy approach is to focus more on how we can encourage the development of human-centric technologies. Clearly, industry is in the lead in moving towards Industry 5.0, but at the policy level, we need to support it right across these different policy areas. And already in the area of research and innovation, we're looking at ways in which we can help make Industry 5.0 happen. At the beginning of this year, we launched the first ever Industry 5.0 award, open to European projects. We were very positively surprised that we had almost 60 applications for it. And indeed, the standard was very high. We had a jury of distinguished personalities from the worlds of industry, of business, and of the trade unions who judged the award. The winner will be announced at the forthcoming European Research and Innovation Days at the end of this month. We see the winners and the finalists, and indeed those others who participated in the award, as being the pioneers who are helping to show the way in which Industry 5.0 can be applied across a range of sectors and by a range of different sizes and shapes of companies. Also, we've had a first roundtable with industry leaders to get the clear views of those on the ground as to what they see as being the opportunities and also the bottlenecks with the implementation of Industry 5.0. And they came out with some very clear views for us. They fully back the approach to Industry 5.0. They see this is the way forward to go. And working with them, we have identified a number of priority measures that we will now look to implement in research and innovation policy, and indeed in liaison with our colleagues in other policy areas at European level. Thirdly, we're beginning now to integrate Industry 5.0 into the Horizon Europe work programs. In the first work program of Horizon Europe 2021-2022, we had one topic on related to Industry 5.0 on the aspect of skills. It was very heavily subscribed, very high standard of proposals. So we will, and the successful projects from that are just now they're having their kickoff meetings this month. So we will certainly be following up the skills dimension in the next work program of Horizon Europe. But I think we will also be looking at other aspects of Industry 5.0, trying to understand what are the bottlenecks to implementation of Industry 5.0 and where can policy best intervene. And also we identify areas where we could possibly develop lighthouses or pilots that can show the way to how Industry 5.0 can be implemented in different industrial settings. So the work programs for 23-24 are currently being finalized. They will be going to the member states for approval in the coming weeks, and we expect the formal launch to be at the beginning of 2023. So at that stage, there will be an opportunity for people across Europe, as usual, to put together consortia to make proposals to apply for funding under Horizon Europe for topics specifically related to Industry 5.0. Another aspect that we're working very closely at European level with is in connection with our colleagues in the European Institute of Technology and Manufacturing. They have a very strong education dimension to their work, and we're now seeing how we can work with them to ensure that their curricula for their training and management courses fit well with Industry 5.0, and so can also support the further development of the concept and the implementation, indeed, of Industry 5.0. So we're now beginning, as I said, to look at how we can directly have topics on Industry 5.0 in our work programs. But in fact, EU-funded research projects over the last number of years have helped us to see the way to how to develop and to implement the concept of Industry 5.0. I'll highlight just 3 examples here of these projects. The first one is a project called Beyond 4.0. Which is really looking at how this human-centric dimension, how the future of new technologies can best impact on jobs, on business models, but also on wider society welfare. And the second one, human manufacturing, again focusing very much on the human-centric dimension, is about demonstrating how factory workers and automation can work together in harmony in a way that on the one hand improves productivity and performance of the company, but also improves job satisfaction and worker safety. The third project is KICCLUS 4.0, which brings together a whole range of different digital technologies, including cyber physical systems, augmented reality and artificial intelligence, together with aspects like product lifecycle manufacturing and management and lifecycle assessment, how these can really be brought together to transform the ways in which we try to implement circular manufacturing in Europe. So I think I'll stop there. If anyone would like to have further information, we have a dedicated area of the Europa website dealing with the Industry 5.0, where you can find a lot more information, and in due course the information regarding topics related to Industry 5.0 in the forthcoming work program will also be available there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean, for such a great focused and kind of clear presentation. I can ask now my colleague Luc to take a look at the chat if we have got any questions which people would like to Sean to answer.
Yes, we have some questions. Some of them are very specific, so we might not have the time to address them all. I have one question from Michael Arada. He asked, what are the principles of Industry 5.0? If Sean could specify a bit on that.
Well, I think I've made fairly clear that the principles are three. First of all, human-centricity. Secondly, sustainability, and thirdly, resilience. Those are the three principles, those are the three pillars of Industry 5.0.
Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to come to. Okay. I have a complementary question also from Michael, but also from my side about the metrics. And you started to mention the award, and I would suspect probably there would at some point be some kind of like it is for digital technologies in general, some kind of European scorecard or something like this, or if you already have an idea of the level of transformation of the industry towards 5.0, if there is already a significant number of companies going to this new paradigm.
I think we're still at quite an early stage of the Industry 5.0 journey. So we're beginning now to think about metrics. There may be a topic in the work program that will look at that, but already in the EU Industrial Scoreboard, which is published on an annual basis, we're looking at having a chapter in relation to Industry 5.0. So that would probably be the first step to integrate the metrics in Industry 5.0 with the existing information on the competitiveness of European industry, because we're already existing evidence that companies that take the Industry 5.0 route do have a competitive advantage over time. I think beyond that, we will begin to look at perhaps a wider scoreboard. But I think we're at this stage, rather than looking at who's doing best, what we're really trying to identify is who are the pioneers, who are those who are taking Industry 5.0 forward, and who can we learn from, and to share these best practices. And then in the second stage, we will integrate something in the scoreboard. And then in the third stage, I can well see that we will, when we have a broad body of evidence, we will begin to develop metrics to really measure where the success of Industry 5.0 can be seen more clearly.
Okay, thank you for that. I have maybe René, we have time for one or two other questions.
Yes, we can take let's say 2 more questions.
Yeah, I have at least one coming. Probably maybe Sean, it refers to the role of the EIT manufacturing. Probably Magda was asking about the role and the potential of PhD students to bring into companies this Industry 4.0 principles, because she feels that it's difficult for PhD to sell the skills to industrial actors, because they sometimes are considered as more specialists of theory rather than practice. Maybe that's different from country to country. So will there be a specific role into the EIT manufacturing of addressing the PhDs and bringing them to the industry?
I can't speak in detail for EIT manufacturing, but that's exactly the kind of way we would see things going, that they would, through EIT manufacturing, there would be possibilities for development of the skills towards a career in manufacturing for those at all levels, right up to PhD and even postdoctoral, to allow them, because you said a very important point, that digitization of industry means that industry will need the highest caliber of people, and that's why we're putting so much emphasis on the fact that Industry 5.0 should help to create an attractive work environment that would draw these people in. But clearly, you're quite right that industry must be aware that these people have relevance for them, and we hope that EIT manufacturing can play an important role, given its mandate vis-a-vis education and innovation, to exactly bring in PhD level people to industry as we move on with the Industry 5.0 journey.
And the prolongation of the question is actually the set of skills that students of the next generation should have, that goes very much in that direction. I guess it's a long discussion, a long topic, probably.
Yeah.
I think in broad terms, it's not so much just the skills that they have, but the way in which they can use the skills, that they will be adaptable, they're willing to be adaptable, and it will be really a case of lifelong skill development and upskilling throughout the career. So clearly, the more there's the fact that there's a combination of key technical skills together with the ability to be adaptable, that would be a key combination.
I see also in the chat that we have got a number of more technical and detailed questions, and some of them are more principal. Mr. Rada is continuing the discussion on the key principles. For instance, saying that there are 3 pillars, Sean, which you mentioned, but there should also be key principles, and he advocates for transparency, profit sharing, and efficiency as 3 of the possible key principles for Industry 5.0. But there is also one more general question, and perhaps we can end as we're running out of time with this one. And the question is that is Industry 5.0 complementary to Industry 4.0, or is it its successor? So how do you see the big picture and relationship between the Industry 4.0 and 5.0 concepts?
We will see Industry 5.0 certainly is more complementary. At the same time, we don't see it as necessarily a logical process. It may be that there will be companies that have had difficulty with reaching their digitization adoption goals using the Industry 4.0 approach, who can use, in fact, Industry 5.0 as a way of achieving Industry 4.0 as they go along. So the relationship is not linear, but it certainly the relationship is harmonious and is intended in that way. It's not Industry 5.0 versus Industry 4.0, certainly not. Conditions in markets have changed dramatically since Industry 4.0 was launched. And in a certain way, Industry 5.0 tries to build on Industry 4.0 to take account of these more challenging circumstances in which we find ourselves, in addition to the evidence that that many companies have a lot of difficulty achieving Industry 4.0, and that in a way, Industry 5.0 can help to smooth the way towards achieving digitalization goals that companies have.
Thank you so much, Sean, for clarifying this. And with that, I think we need to move ahead with our next speaker. But just to clarify for our audience, the questions which we were not able to directly get an answer from Sean, we will come back to them individually, and we will try to get them answered as a follow-on activity of this webinar. And Thank you once again, Sean, and let me now invite our next speaker, who is Kristiina Jokelainen from Lapland in northern part of Finland, and she will be talking about green and digital transition and their experiences in northern Finland. So Kristiina, as I asked also Sean, please firstly introduce yourself shortly about your background and activities, and then you have 15 minutes for making your presentation. So the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Rene, and thank you very much